There we go.
Here they come.
Watch. King Charles and Queen Camilla on the balcony, and the crowd roars. King Charles and Queen Camilla surrounded by the pages who helped them so ably today. And of course, Prince George, the eldest grandson, one of those pages. And now another door opens and we see more members of the royal family fill out that balcony in the moment that quite literally the world has been waiting for.
And quite a broad presence of royals there, as you can see. Edward, the king's brother, is there on the far left. Presumably, therefore, we will see Anne as well.
Every time someone new files out, the crowd roars, and this is where we really depend on our royal spotters, Daisy and Bill, to let us know who we see when we take that wider shot. But imagine the conversation that's going on between these two.
And we can already see little Louis is playing up to the crowd. You can see him on the left next to his sister Charlotte, as Wolf was saying. We've got the Wessexes, or as they were, the Edinburghs, on the far left.
The Duke of Kent on the far right. So again, Queen's quite a distant cousin of the king's now. So,
but they are sticking to the working royal rule, obviously apart from the children and the pages there. And you've got a sign there of the blended family. So the Queen's pages being her three grandsons and her great nephew, and then of course George and three other 13-year-olds being the king's pages.
So the only working role we can't see yet, but she did have a big role, of course, in the procession, is Anne.
I'm guessing she's rather soggy.
She's probably rather
drying off.
But of course, to state the obvious, no Andrew, no Harry, no Beatrice, no Eugenie.
So this is the vision of the slimmed-down monarchy that has been so talked about in these last few days. Slimmed down, certainly by virtue of the Queen's passing, but then also Harry departing, Prince Andrew no longer being essentially forced out from being a working royal. And so this is the image of the future. And we just saw the Princess Royal.
We saw the Princess Royal still in her Blues and Royals uniform, and the thistle elements to that uniform that she's wearing. The rain is still very heavy, but the crowds are, the noise is very, very loud here. There's Charlotte in her Alexander McQueen dress, and Louis.
That's the new royal wave.
And here come the helicopters of the flypast.
The reduced flypast. And of course, there's the aspect of the hard and fast rule, the kind of get out of jail free clause that the king can use. Only working royals are attending this. But at the same time, he is trying to handle a PR battle and talk about a slimmed down royal family. So if you start to add members that aren't doing work for the family, it just changes that debate as much as we would have all liked to have seen Harry up there.
Well, there's some kind of fly past that's about to unfold, but the rain is now officially a pouring rain here in London. And the royals are gamely on the balcony, unclear if they have much cover up there. And the red arrows, which are the acrobatic blades, those are the aircraft that are coming over. We're starting to hear them.
Yes.
So let's see how the crowd likes it.
They are just behind us.
Here they come.
The original intention was for 68 aircraft and for the flypast to take 6 minutes. Unclear exactly how many in the reduced flypast will be going overhead.
And they're overhead as we speak. The crowd loves the wave, and we got our royal flyover. Perhaps not the one with the fighter jets that some had hoped for, but we got there nonetheless.
We got a couple of quite loud helicopters, not enough for Louis to block his ears this time, alas. Here comes, I think, the red arrows to finish things off.
We're hearing spontaneous chants of God Save the King in the crowd. Spirits are high. Was cool.
That was worth the wait.
The red arrows up against a smile from King Charles and Queen Camilla. What a moment. That military flyover capping off an extraordinary day here in London. King Charles is coronated, as is Queen Camilla, and now members of the working royal family on the balcony, and we hear the national anthem. Let's listen. Old the last time he stood on that balcony on a coronation day. He waited 70 long years for that moment.
And he looked, there he is as a little boy, and of course his mother wearing the crown there. He, of course, knows that his reign can't possibly be anywhere as long as his mother's, and he's talked it in private and occasionally publicly about that feeling that he wants to achieve as much as he can in what will be a relatively short reign. He's the oldest newly crowned king ever.
I also think he'll be reflecting on how relatively well the first 8 months of his reign have gone. That was a universally positive appearance on the balcony. As was discussed earlier, had he become king in the late 90s or the early 2000s, I don't think it would have been like that. And I think what is fair to say is that King Charles was immediately more popular than Prince Charles. He got a bump the day he became king. For the rest of his reign, it will now be delivering on his service, and I think he'll be held to account in a way that perhaps the Queen was not. But it's gone well so far.
And I want to turn to our British historian, Tim Bouvier, who's with us. And in a way, ensuring the survival of the monarchy is perhaps his primary role. Making sure that it continues to be a healthy part of British society has to be at the top of his agenda.
Well, I think he would consider his primary role to be to serve the nation and the Commonwealth, but certainly as far as his service goes to the family and the institutions, the survival of the monarchy is certainly a secondary priority to him. We've had a 10-year interregnum in the 17th century when we didn't have a monarchy, and that didn't go very well. That's one of the reasons why most of the crown jewels you're seeing are not nearly as old as the coronation ceremony themselves, because they were melted down in that 10 years we were a republic. And Republican feeling has definitely grown in the 21st century. But I think he will show that he has got great fortitude. He's supported by the Queen, no longer the Queen Consort, and the Prince and Princess of Wales. I think that he has a very, very fair chance of seeing the monarchy passed down to the next generation as healthily as he took it on.
Yes, part of the vast responsibilities that he has now as king. Tim Boothby, thank you very much. I want to go to Simon Lewis, former communications director for Queen Elizabeth, and you have had in that position an opportunity to get to know Charles a bit. I wonder what you were thinking as you saw him on the balcony, adorned in his royal robes and crown upon his head. And well, I guess we're getting an encore, so hold that thought. Let's go back to the balcony, because King Charles and Queen Camilla have come for a second look at this crowd.
I think he obviously must be tremendously relieved this has gone so well, but I think he looked a little pensive. He is king, and this country is going through a challenging time, and I think his inbox is going to have some quite big issues in it, in terms of things like the Commonwealth, the future of the Commonwealth, how the monarchy can re-engage with younger people, the whole question of what the future of the monarchy looks like. He's fully equipped to deal with all those issues, but there is a burden to being the sovereign, and he's very well prepared for it. And this has been a tremendous day, a fantastic day, but now in a sense the hard work begins. And I think the message about the working family around him on the balcony was exactly the right one, because it can't be just the burden of the sovereign, it has to be the family, but a slimmed down family. So I think the message is absolutely spot on, but there's hard work ahead.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.